Warning, this video may contain spoilers for late parts in the game. If you plan on playing this at some point, turn back now. You have been warned. Hello again, CR with a review for a game that I remember fondly from my childhood, and I was honestly super disappointed upon playing it for this review. I didn't remember this game as much as I thought I did, possibly blending the first and second game together because I also remember the second one fondly. A lot that was going on in this game frustrated me greatly while I played it, and it honestly didn't get better, at times getting worse, but never being a horrible experience, just a lack of total focus to me in all directions, as nothing felt totally solid, as I'll be explaining later in my con section. For now, let's talk about the basics. So, this game is a platformer needing to jump around everywhere. There isn't really one goal followed throughout the game, and changes every so often. The beginning, you're tasked with finding and defeating flowers throughout various levels. After that is accomplished, you must find 100 spirit stones throughout the entirety of the world. Then, finally, 3 moonstones. There isn't really anything to find besides those, though you can find more than the required spirit stones, but I don't really think you gain much of anything by going above and beyond. You do get some extra equipment and spells, but honestly not too many, and some of the spells aren't explained really well, and I honestly didn't end up using them all too much besides the rejuvenation one that heals you, and the locator to find the spirit stones. The main thing you want to collect, and I didn't really understand why until I got the spells, is the feathers. The blue ones equal 1, while the larger orange feathers count as 3. I think the large blue ones count as 5, maybe 10, but I was honestly confused because some or maybe all heal you in various ways, but I didn't even know what percentage they each heal because when you get hit, it shows how much health you have left. But when you collect the feathers, the only way to tell your health is going up is to look at the feather on Tak's head. Basically, the spells use the feathers as a cost, and while I never really found myself being under 1,000 feathers, some of the costs are kind of high. You start out with only a club that just hits enemies, eventually getting a stick that I really like because it lets you cheese a bunch of things. It lets you jump farther and higher, and if you jump right as you're about to fall off a ledge, it will usually let you make jumps you aren't supposed to because it slides off the edge, but you don't end up falling because you're already in the jump animation. There is a big drawback to this though, because there's a bunch of places that set your feet on fire, and since you slide a little bit, it cancels out the jump completely and you just take damage, which sucks ass. There's also a sand dune level and a snowboard level that is kind of like skating, and you can find feathers and spirit stones there, but I really didn't do extensive playing on these because I'm not very good at them, even in other games. But they are pretty basic anyways, not even needing to do them at all to advance the story. The game starts out with Jabulba chanting some Juju and summoning a Juju spirit, which turns out to be you, the player. He tells you that he is a shaman of the Pupanunu people, yelling at his assistant Tak to get Locke. There was a prophecy that the people's protector, the moon spirit, would one day be attacked. Treylock, an evil shaman, was passed over in a council vote. In revenge, Treylock stole the moonstones that were the power of the moon spirit, making the prophecy true, turning all the Pupanunu people into sheep. This prophecy also mentioned the High Shaman's chosen warrior would be able to save the people, and Jabulba trained a man named Locke. Tak coming back with a sheep, who he says is Locke. Jabulba tasked Tak with finding Lubu plants and entering the burial ground to find an ancient weapon, though this is only inferred, and ask you to protect him along the way. Tak gets some helpful training from Flora, a spirit sent by the moon spirit. Tak eventually goes to the burial ground and comes upon a tomb of his ancestor who holds a stick, saying the prophecies would help the warrior. Tak then finds and destroys 15 plants, heading back to Jabulba. He then transforms the sheep that Tak brought from the beginning into a person with the plants, who turns out not to be Locke, and the plants didn't even completely work. He tells Tak to go to the upper tree village and retrieve the spirit rattle, which Tak attempts to before getting stopped by Treylock, who sicks his minions, pins and needles at Tak. Tak defeats them, obtaining the spirit rattle, and returns to Jabulba, who has found a deflated lock. He tells Tak that he is missing his spirit, and in order to resurrect him, needs Tak to find it and 100 spirit stones called Yorbles. He also says that with the rattle, Tak will be able to see things normal people cannot, such as the Yorbles, Talisman, and other Juju spirits who will help Tak if he offers them a tiki. Tak enters the spirit world along the way, collecting many Yorbles, and eventually finds Locke's spirit trapped in a balloon. Jabulba resurrects Locke, but he gets Resurrection's revenge, which is just Locke needing to take the biggest and longest shit imaginable. Jabulba gets fed up with waiting as possibly hours pass, and just tells Tak to find the 3 moonstones, which he promptly does after being forced to fight pins and needles for each one. Tak returns with them, which brings back the moon spirit. Jabulba offers his warrior, Locke, and the moon spirit silences him, saying that the real warrior of prophecy is obviously Tak for doing everything the prophecy said, which no one can believe, not even Tak. She sends him off to fight Treylock in his domain. Treylock uses a lot of his shaman abilities, turning Tak into various animals, with Tak using his smarts to turn a bad situation into a good one. At the end, he transforms Flora into an orangutan for turning Tak back into human in each stage, but this is also to his detriment as Flora flings him into a giant plant. This causes the rattle to absorb its power. Tak smashes the rattle down and transforms Treylock into a sheep, which Flora flings into the flower, absorbing his power and destroying his fortress. This transforms all the sheeps back into humans, with Tak saving the day. I'm gonna be honest, there isn't a whole lot I like about this game. The few things I do like are the music, interesting looking levels, humor, and characters, which there isn't even a whole lot of seen from them. The music I like mostly due to being fun and mixing with the game pretty well. The levels I'll have to explain more in the cons section, but the designs are really cool to me and I enjoyed them for the most part. The humor is pretty great right from the beginning by breaking the fourth wall, though it's only mentioned once weirdly. There's only around like 12 characters in the game, 4 you only see once or twice in the entire game. The humor makes what little we see of the characters pretty likable though. The gameplay in this game is kind of a jumbled mess to me. For good periods being kind of fun, but others just straight annoying. There's some sort of momentum system in place, but it doesn't work consistently. Sometimes on the second jump, which also doesn't work consistently, all momentum is lost or slowed, leading to falling off a platform and getting sent back to God knows where. I don't remember if this was marketed towards kids when it came out. I sure as hell didn't beat it as a kid, but there are a lot of sections that are just absolutely ridiculous and punishing later in the game, such as the Chicken Temple and the Sun Temple. Even gameplay mechanics that should be simple, like climbing a rope, are unnecessarily complicated. There's also a couple weird floor mechanics, like when you walk on a puddle, you slide for some reason. At the beginning, they take time to explain the main mechanics, but mostly after that, you're on your own trying to figure out how stuff works, which is usually good in a game, but let me give you an example. You get a spell called Summon Melon, and all they say is, it's in case you need to summon a melon. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? I never ended up even using it, so I still don't know what it's for. All this makes any good of the game kinda moot for me, and this kind of sucks cause I at least remembered liking the game as a kid, even though I never finished it. I don't know when I'll be getting to the second game because I really want to hope that it at least advanced a lot of the things that were lacking in this game, or at least fixed a lot of problems I had with the gameplay just being full of jank and weirdness. If it had a limited life system, this review would probably be even worse on the game, but I'm really glad they decided to go against it because I don't know if I would have even finished it. Here's to the next game being better. Hope you enjoyed and see you next video.